I'm not a lawyer, but y'all bullied me into doing regular recaps even though I'm in the courtroom this week. So here's what happened on day 14 of the Diddy trial. So Mia, the former assistant of Diddy, was back on the stand to continue cross-examination, which was being handled by Diddy's defense attorney, Brian Steele. And ciao. Brian Steele picks up with asking Mia about a resume of hers. And on this resume, Mia said that she previously offered round-the-clock support for all personal and professional needs, that she had, quote, thick skin, and that in her previous role, she worked as an assistant for Mike Myers, that she kept the inventory of all personal possessions, documentations, passports, driver's license, and other things. A little bit of context before I go into this line of questions. On direct examination, Mia testified about how extreme, extensive, and exhaustive working with Diddy was, how it was a 24/7 job, and in one instance where she worked 5 days straight with no sleep. So Steele used this previous resume of Mia's to essentially show that she sold herself as the person who could handle this job and that she had previously done this job. Brian Steele also asked Mia about the part that says thick skin, and to this Mia responded, quote, I thought I had thick skin. From there, Brian Steele goes into asking Mia about the bullet point that references passports and documentation. Context again here is that on direct, Mia recalled a time that Diddy got a yacht to celebrate New Year's Eve, but on that trip, he ended up yelling at her, telling her to walk on water and to get off the boat. And according to her, when she tried to, quote, run away, she eventually had to come back because he called her back, but also because her passport was still on the yacht. But on cross-examination, when Brian Steele brings this up, he asked Mia if it's common practice for assistants or designated people to hold all of the passports on a trip to keep them together. Mia acknowledges this, saying that yes, it is typical, and that's actually what happened on this trip. Her passport was not withheld from her, it was just with everybody else's who was on that trip. Next up, Brian Steele transitions to some text messages between Mia and Diddy, particularly after she left the company in March of 2017. The first message is from Christmas Day in 2018, so about a year and a half after she left the company, where she said, quote, Merry Christmas, love you so much. 2 days later, Diddy responds to her saying, same to you. And then a few days after that, on New Year's Day, Mia texts Diddy, Happy New Year, always so much love to you. When Brian Steele is asking Mia about these texts, she says that she had recently seen Diddy and his family at Kim Porter's funeral, which happened in November of 2018. So this is about a month or so after that. 2 weeks after that Happy New Year text, Mia sends Diddy another text that says, quote, just thinking of you today and every day. Also, no lie, last night I had a nightmare. I was trapped in an elevator with R. Kelly and I screamed for you and you came to rescue me. So thank you for that too. Sending you love. Brian Steele asks Mia if in that text message, she's calling the person who she says assaulted her and traumatized her, meaning Diddy, her savior, to which Mia says, yes, I am. A few months before that R. Kelly text, Mia sent Diddy another text that read, quote, just sending you all the love in the world with a heart emoji. And at this point, Brian Steele highlights that Mia had not been working for Diddy for about 2 years and was no longer under his, quote, grip, and yet she was still sending messages of love to him. In response to this, Mia says that she was still under his psychological grip. Brian Steele then asks her to explain why she would still be reaching out to Diddy without using the word psychology. And to this, she says, I don't remember why, but the version of Puff that did treat me like the best friend, I did love that dude. He protected me from the other versions of himself. And I didn't understand what happened to me until recently, as he was still being praised by everybody in the world. So how would I have known? Brian still continues to drive home his point that Mia was reaching out to Diddy, even though she had stopped working with him, by reading more and more and more text messages. One of the messages came from December of 2019, which said, quote, sending you and the family love and prayers today. To this, Mia says she sent that message because it was actually Kim Porter's birthday, and so she was thinking about Diddy and his family. Another message is from New Year's Eve 2019, and here she said she forwarded a message that someone sent to her. It was about cancer, and they asked her to send it to Diddy, so she did. There's another message from May of 2020, which is when she said Andre Harrell passed. And in that message, she told Diddy, quote, you are one of the most influential people on the planet, a master, and he will live on through you forever. She continues the message saying, I know this is excruciating, and again, it might be small, but I will always be there for you. I love you. Brian still asked Mia if she ever sent any messages to a friend or family member of Diddy being violent, humiliating, or traumatizing to her, to which she says no, because that would have been a huge break of trust, loyalty, and confidentiality with Diddy. In August of 2020, Mia sent Diddy a message that says, quote, I've been thinking about you so much and feeling your pain, and just so you know, I love you with all my heart, and I'm still here for you forever. We have so many hilarious memories and stories. Oh my gosh, I'll send you the videos and even random notes I have in my phone titled, Funny-ish Puff Said. And in response to this, Brian still says, do you have any random notes in your phone that talks about the times you were brutalized by Diddy? And Mia says, no, I don't think I do. Brian still highlights that just about all of Mia's messages to Diddy demonstrated a loving relationship that she had with him and doesn't reference anything about her being assaulted, berated, or humiliated or traumatized. And to this, Mia says she was sending him support and love. At this point in the cross-examination, Brian still shows a video of Mia wishing Diddy a happy 44th birthday, which he argued to the judge during one of the breaks that he wanted to show them because the persona that Mia had in court was, according to him, fake, and the video shows her actual demeanor. And to give you some context from my perspective of being at the courthouse, from the time Mia walked into the courtroom until she left, her head was down. Even while being on the stand, I don't think she lifted it at all. At times when she would read text messages, her voice would lighten, but other than that, she seemed very timid. So Brian still says that he wants to show this video because it shows Mia being much more lively and how she typically is. So the video gets played for the jurors. During the next part of the cross-examination, still highlights the first time Mia ever mentioned that Diddy intimately assaulted her. Mia acknowledges that when she left Revolt and agreed to the $400,000 settlement, $200 for her, $200 for her attorneys, she had not mentioned anything about the assault allegations. And she says when she first met with prosecutors and federal investigators, she also had not mentioned the assault allegations. Brian still suggests that the first time Mia mentioned the assault was not until 2024. Mia responds to this, saying she doesn't remember the exact dates, but she does remember the horrible conversation. Brian still then seems to suggest that the reason Mia stopped working for Revolt and why she was so heartbroken about losing that job was because she was not getting to work on time and for a drinking problem. But in response to this, Mia says, no, absolutely not. After Mia stopped working for Diddy, she says she briefly worked for Madonna for about 8 months, which is of note because during direct, Mia said that she suffers from severe PTSD and is easily triggered by really normal things, and therefore she hasn't been able to work. And with that, Brian still wraps up cross-examination, and then the prosecutors do a brief redirect, and the highlight from that redirect is that Mia says that 44th birthday video that was used to show her regular demeanor was actually a promotional video, which is why she said Revolt at the end and why it includes a bottle from a company that Diddy was part owner of. And so she notes that since it was actually a work-related video, she had to do it, and the consequences of not doing it and not doing it right could have been physical violence or being told that she would have lost her job. And from there, Mia is released from the stand, and the next witness is called, which is Sylvia Oken, who worked at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Sylvia testifies very briefly about Diddy's profile with the hotel and how his alias was Philip Pines at one point, and she talked about some of the bills he incurred while staying there, which included asking the doorman to get him candles, as well as a charge for the hotel having to deep clean the drapes. And with that, the day ends. Again, I'm in the courtroom this week, so if you want a fuller recap or some of the behind the scenes, I'll be giving them on my Patreon since y'all bullied me into still doing these shorter recaps.